The Northwest Territories' 2026-2027 budget poses similar spending pressures to years past. Finance Minister Carolyn Wozniak says as healthcare takes up nearly 1/3 of the territorial budget, there are big price tags that go along with medical travel, staffing issues, and the cost of delivering services across remote communities.
Medical travel has become such a huge cost driver, but it's not. That's the sort of the numbers side of it, because it is not a good client experience. It makes it so hard on the patients, which can then drive other healthcare costs if they're actually not able to heal in as efficient or as positive a way as possible, right?
Healthcare spending highlights include $3.1 million for 24/7 diagnostic and lab services in Yellowknife and $740,000 to permanently fund an 811 health advice line. Housing will see investment as the budget triples emergency shelter funding to $8.3 million total for facilities in Yellowknife, Hay River, Inuvik, and Fort Simpson, and hiring 5 staff for a new homelessness division within NWT Housing.
Houses and communities put $150 million over the last few years into improving housing in communities, because if people are in safe homes in their community, maybe they're not ending up in shelters. The money that's going into healthcare, it is an area that we can control. So it is an area that gets almost 1/3 of our budget. If people are healthy, then they're not going in.
The budget adds $8 million for wildfire response capacity and climate change risk mitigation, and plans to complete disaster recovery claims to the tune of $1.4 million. The GNWT acknowledges financial limits. One major infrastructure project alone can cost more than the territory's entire operating budget. Minister Wozniak says they are aligning themselves with Indigenous governments to appeal to Ottawa for federally funded projects like the Mackenzie Valley Highway and the Arctic Security Corridor.
The challenge to me is that if we acknowledge that as a territorial government with an operating budget of less than $3 billion, we're not building these things. Indigenous governments and landholders, their operating budgets are smaller than ours. They're not building these things. If we can make it easy for the federal government and say, here we are, we've all partnered up. Here's exactly how we would propose that you engage with us and work with us.
The territory's ability to make budget commitments relies heavily on Ottawa. 69 cents on every dollar in revenue comes from the feds through transfers and grants. But this year's surplus is slim, only $20 million, down from last year's $172 million. This is because the GNWT has increased its supplementary reserve to $210 million to cover unplanned expenditures like replacing lost Jordan's principal funding and disaster responses. The budget will now move to the Legislative Assembly MLAs for debate. Charlotte Morritt-Jacobs, APTN National News, Yellowknife.